You are tuned to the Indraprasth channel of Akashvani. Today is World Sports Journalist Day. We now bring you a talk by sports journalist Shri Aditya Pimple, and the topic is Trials and Tribulations of a Sports Journalist.
There are hundreds of thousands of sports fields on the planet, and some stunning events unfold every year. Thanks to journalists' promptness, impartiality, and talent, millions of fans around the world receive information and make their choices and form their opinions. The World Sports Journalist Day has been earmarked as the official day of celebration because of significance as the date when the International Sports Press Association was established at the 1924 Paris Olympics. This year, we mark the 100th anniversary of the World Sports Journalist Day. As a sports person, I had the privilege to work with some of the finest of the games while also watching some of the greats from my childhood memory. People like Martin Taylor, Alan Wilkins set the bar on the grandest stage, while I had the privilege to work with national sports journalists like Nikhil Naz, Vikrant Gupta, Sameep Rajguru during their several stints as well. It was not an easy task for me to start my journey, having switched careers from a well-established mechanical engineer to struggling sports journalist. But I have found a way to negotiate my way and establish myself as one of the futures in the sports field. My journey as a sports journalist started way back in 2003, or so do I believe it, because that is where my love for sports and cricket developed. It was the 2003 Cricket World Cup as a cricket lover, and then slowly shifting attention to football and tennis. I always believed that I have the hunger and desire to join these players. While my playing days were almost non-existing, my journalism was always the back door to get me into the sports. However, that journey was not easy, as you would say. As a sports journalist and going trends, the job was not easy at the start, as it demanded a lot out of me, both mentally as well as physically. My first step as a sports journalist was back in 2017 as an enthusiast of sports, when I started working for a private radio channel as a sports commentator for the Indian Premier League season. Best part of the job was I enjoyed the work till late nights at 11, sometimes at 12 as well. But the worst part was I did not get a penny as I worked on an internship basis. The trend would continue for the next few months, where I would put money from my pocket to get into the studios and get the opportunity to speak on sports. In fact, I can also recall a memory from 2018. I was rejected by one of the local stations in my hometown as a sports commentator. And 3 years later, it was All India Radio who played a huge part in my revival. Because in 2021, when I was really into that sports journalism thing, they once again gave me the opportunity to speak on sports. And that is where, All India Radio played a huge part for me coming back to the radio and working as a sports enthusiast. Coming back to my journey, the host of challenges were different. I would later join a sports website after my stint at the local radio, where I had what I would describe as best as well as the worst time of my career as well. The reason I say this is because I learned a lot of things in my professional job there, but mentally it was a very challenging aspect. Along with my team, I used to work continuously at times without any breaks, or sometimes the hard thing was you have to just switch one sport to the other. I remember June 2021 when the Olympics were about to begin, and we were preparing for the Euros as well, because the Euros had shifted from 2020 to 2021 because of the COVID-19. And since the Euro 2020 was taking place during that Wimbledon time, it was a very hectic schedule for sports journalists, and that was something very challenging. I would get up early in the morning, prepare the Wimbledon previews, then get into some cricket stuff, and then your evening ends up with commentary stints on the Euros games. That was one of the best experiences because it brought a lot out of me. There is one more piece of challenge I will speak, and that is keeping up your knowledge up to date every day. In a nation crazy for cricket, sports journalists can't hide from their lack of knowledge. Even today, I have to keep account of what's happening and what's going to happen. Sometimes I also have to anticipate what things are going to happen. Mathematics plays a very huge role in it, because coming from an engineering background, if you just go into the business end of IPL or Euro season, you will find that you will have a lot of calculations, net run rate, goal differences. So I personally believe that mathematics does play a big part. As a journalist, I have to keep an account of what's happening with Mercedes and Formula One. I have to go and check what's happening in the NBA. Recently, Boston Celtics won their 18th NBA title as well. So, you have to make sure that you grasp your knowledge. You have to polish your knowledge at times. You have to keep an eye on what's happening at the Wimbledon, what's happening at the football transfers, what's happening at the Euros as well. I firmly believe that maths and sports are very closely connected. While keeping your knowledge up to date becomes a very big part of the process, you physically have to be ready for other challenges as well. As a junior, I did not get too many opportunities to travel for sports assignment. But nowadays, I go for different sports assignments which demands a lot of travel. Once I had a really hectic schedule. I remember in the month of April where the Indian Premier League was going on, I had to travel multiple cities like in consecutive days. And best part of it was you enjoy your work. So that is where you bring the best out of yourself. But just a piece of advice to the juniors, if you're not getting the opportunity, sometimes you have to go over the limit. You have to gain the trust of your seniors. So you have to be ready. And in a race where TRP is becoming a very huge aspect for television channels, because it is just not about delivering, it is also delivering to get things out as well. TRP plays a big role, and that is where the business part of the thing comes into the context. Again, the biggest thing I believe in building all this part is contacts. And without contacts, I don't think so any sports journalist would be able to manufacture his way into the success story. So a big part of the process, I believe, is to build contacts and make sure the process builds up on and you get the best out of yourself. Coming back to the travel as a challenges that I have mentioned up, let's come back to what happened during the IPL. I was in Chandigarh on Thursday for one of the IPL matches. The very next day, I traveled to Lucknow. I have to switch cities. I have to catch my flight. If I miss one of the flights, the entire schedule gets messed up at that moment. And on Friday from Lucknow to Saturday, Delhi, then on Sunday back to Chandigarh. On Monday, you are in Jaipur. And that demands a lot. Although you enjoy your work, sometimes those things also get hectic. 5 days, 5 different cities. Those things are very, very challenging as a sports journalist. But if you are really true at your job, that is where I think my passion is paying some huge dividends as well. There have been days where I have even worked till 3 o'clock in the night and then have to make sure that in the morning I come up early as well. You can compare my hunger for sports to something that Virat Kohli has for cricket or Cristiano Ronaldo is having for football. I can recall one of my memories last year. I was working on the Cricket World Cup that was happening in India. And I get a call from Neeraj Chopra's PR. They call me, Aditya, can you do an interview with Neeraj Chopra? And I'm like totally occupied. I don't have time. But then, you have to find a way because you can't let someone like Neeraj Chopra go. So that becomes a part of the process. You have to be ready for any challenges. And that is where passion really plays a big part. And I really think the real tribute to this job will be, setting up a bar for the future generations and fulfill the passion for the work. And that is where I believe, sports journalism plays a very huge role. And especially if you don't have passion, you might not succeed. At last, sports journalism, I truly believe, is a profession where standards have been set and some of the greats have always been in the centric figures. That is where I believe. The greats like Harsha Bhogle, Peter Drury, Mark Nicholas have made great justice to their profession as well in the past and in the future. While our dreams in the sports may be different, tribute will always be laid by the sheer passion we have for our work today. And it gives me a great pleasure that I am part of a community where I can be enjoying my work and I love my journey as well. And I'm really thankful to the All India Radio for being part of my process, being part of what I am today. And World Sports Day is one such occasion, it gives me an opportunity to speak on this very good day where I'm just reflecting on my journey.
You just heard a talk by sports journalist Shri Aditya Pimple in the backdrop of World Sports Journalist Day. The broadcast came to you from the Indraprasth channel of Akashvani, Delhi.